Okay, so now we're going to show you how to install Python. We're going to use Anaconda Python, which is one of the most popular distributions. So to do this, you go to Google, you type in Anaconda, like the snake, and then Python. So all the hits that we've got there are for Anaconda, but let's go to the home page. So that's www.anaconda.com. Then you can go to the download button, which is the top right hand side, and click it. So this is where you download it. Now we're going to download it for Windows, which is an excellent choice to get started, but you can also get the same installer for Mac or for Linux. So once you've clicked on Windows, or whichever operating system you want, click on Download. The next decision is to decide what Python version you want. The most important thing here is that everybody in the community is using the same version. We're going to be using the latest version, 3.7. And you can either download the 32-bit or 64-bit. So long as you're running a fairly modern computer, I would recommend that you click on the 64-bit graphical installer. So not the download button there, but the 64-bit one. Once you click this, it'll say, do you want to download it? And just click and select down the bottom of the screen to save as. And then you can choose a location for it, which in this particular case is going to my downloads directory. So that's a fairly large file. It's 662 megabytes, but it does include everything that you'll need for quite some time. So this is going to take 4 minutes, so we'll just have a pause. Okay, so now we're going to install the software. After the download is completed, go to your directory where you've downloaded it, which in my case was my downloads directory, and find the installer. It's about 677 megabytes. Then run it, so you can either double click or click on right click and then click on open. So I'm double clicking and the install will start. If you happen to, so that's hiding behind there. So if you're installing this on a work computer, you could have some trouble at this point because you need to have administrator privileges to be able to do the installation. If that's the case and you want to get started, perhaps try it on a home computer instead. When the dialog comes up, you'll see the installation instructions. Click on Next. Then it's got the installation agreement, which is a type of BSD license. The BSD license is a very permissive license, so it's quite a good one. It's hard to get in trouble. Then when you're deciding who to install it for, you can either have just me or all users of the computer. Because we want to keep things simple, we're going to choose just me. It'll then suggest a directory to install it in. So Anaconda 3, that's good. Click Next. And then it will ask about some advanced options. So it's going to register the Anaconda installer as the default Python. This is only an issue if you've got multiple versions of Python installed, but that shouldn't be a problem for most of you. And then also whether it should add Anaconda to the path environment variable. This is not recommended, so we'll leave that. Click on install. The installation then will take place. Typically this takes about 2 or 3 minutes. Some parts go quick and some parts go slow. So what we'll do is we'll pause while it's completing. So now the installation is completed, you click Next, Next again, and then Finish. Okay. After that, a couple of screens will open up for you to get an Anaconda Cloud account and also getting started in Anaconda. But you can close that. So after it's installed, you can go to the Windows bar. You could choose recently added here, but I like to go down to the Anaconda 64-bit section, and I'm going to right click it and click a pin to start button on the start menu so that I can easily access it next time. And I might even right click it and create open the file location and create a share of this folder here, which is in Start Menu Programs. So I'm going to create a copy. So create shortcut. Yeah, which is just there. I'm going to bring that to my home page just so I've got a nice way of accessing everything from my home page. So what I'll do here, there's a couple of things that you'll be interested in. The first one is this Anaconda Navigator. So I'll open that. So this is the main Anaconda program. So in a second, you should see a circle will appear on the screen. And so it might take a little bit longer the very first time you use it. And then a nice window will appear, which will show you all the different parts of the program. So the Jupyter notebooks, the different GUI editors, so you can add and remove aspects of Python if you want. Now, as you can see, Jupyter, which is actually very handy, and Jupyter Notebook are ready pre-installed. If you want, you can install RStudio, which I wouldn't recommend because we're trying to avoid R in the community of practice, or install what's called VS Code, which is a free Microsoft editor. And I would recommend that because what I'm going to propose for the community of practice is that you write programs using a combination of Jupyter Notebook to basically hack your way through, and then Visual Studio Code to write the final version that you want to share with other people. Okay, so as I said before, Jupyter Lab Notebook and these consoles are already installed, but we also want to install VS Code. So click Install there, and that will start installing VS Code, and we'll organize the download from the internet. Okay, so I just paused for about 3 or 4 minutes while Visual Studio Code installed, and now you can see here on the screen VS Code has the launch button. So you just click on launch just to confirm that that's worked. It does take a little bit longer through this Anaconda Navigator, I've noticed, than if you actually go down to the start menu, because that does also work just while that's loading up. If you type in VS Code into here, so you can access it that way as well. But that just shows that that's working. So we'll cover how to use Visual Studio Code in a future video, but you can see what I said before with here. We are going to be using a combination of Jupyter to hack through and figure out how the code should work, test each line by line, and then once we say yes, we know exactly that it's doing the right thing in that kind of agile Jupyter Notebook environment. We'll transfer the code line by line over to the VS Code for the final test and packaging. So that's it. You've now got a fully installed Anaconda Python, Jupyter Notebook, and Visual Studio Code editor.